டார்லிங் மொபைல் உலகின் சூப்பர் ஸ்டார்.
Jenson and Nicholson paints. Whenever you see color, think of us. Skin app presents Take One Short Film Contest. நீங்களும் director ஆக ஒரு நல்ல chance.
Hi, Sundeep Kishan. Welcome to Galatta Plus.
Hi, sir. Pleasure being here.
We're going to talk in English because you have this bilingual or multilingual audience.
I'm glad we start with that, so I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
One of the things I want to know is how did Dhanush narrate your character to you?
As in, when it was pitched to me,
Yes, like what did he say? Who is this guy? Like how did he narrate it to you? Was it part of the story or was it just like, okay, I have a character who's this? Do you want to play him? What was that?
interestingly, this was a first of its kind experience in my entire career in terms of how I chose to be a part of this film. So we were shooting for Captain Miller, and I had primarily chosen to be a part of that film because I realized I'm not constantly doing Tamil films. And once in a while, when I do show myself, I wanted to build a more theatrical audience where they can relate to me at a very subtext.
You mean the Tamil audience?
Tamil audience.
Yeah.
So Captain Miller was done for that reason. And I've always been a huge Dhanush fan in terms of course, as an actor and the way he approached cinema as well, right? So that was what I felt was, okay, as an actor, I can get to spend some 14 days with him. I'll get to see how an actor who's senior to me and has moved far ahead in terms of where I want to go is approaching his career. But to be honest, I didn't get much time to do that there at all. And while that was happening, I got a call from Shreyas and then on the phone, and they were like, listen.
So that's Dhanush, that's Wunderbar
that's for-
CEO. Yeah.
That's for Ryan.
Yeah.
Right? So I was kind of pleasantly surprised to begin with because it was 2 films back to back. And it was not like we really interacted much during this film either. Except for him, we having moments which were very far away. Like by that point, we had only shot the climax moments where the emotions were very distant. It was not like we were interacting as characters, right? So, and then he called and the call went on and he was like, listen, this is pretty much the lead in the film. And initially when the film was written, I wanted someone else to play my role and I wanted to play this role. So it's written for me. And I would really like you to play it. When would you like to take the narration? And I just was like, it's okay, give me the narration whenever you want to do it, whenever you want to, but I want to do the film. So it was one of those first times in my career where I decided to be a part of a film without even taking a narration.
Right.
You know, and the reasons were primarily like, somebody like Dhanush was coming ahead and making a film which was his 50th film, and he's calling me and saying, I have written a part for myself, but I want someone else to play it and I think you can. I thought that was an incredible compliment, you know.
Right.
And finally when the narration happened, it happened with, except for Aparna, the rest of the cast. And by the end of the first half of the narration, everybody was looking at me. There was silence for 5 seconds and he was like, Amma, first half la varudha hero. And he went forward. So I just felt it was very heartwarming to see an actor of his stature to be very comfortable to give away a part like that to somebody else.
One of the things that many people in the audience are asking, and without spoiling, now you do something in the second half. Okay, you do something violent in the second half. So at that point, what is your character's psychological state? So because people are saying, why did he do it? And I think it's been laid out in bits and pieces throughout the movie, but I want you to explain it.
See, that was actually a very interesting scene for me to film for as well. In my head, what I was trying to go with, like, there are times where this is a kind of a film where you're being a part of a bigger cinematic experience, and it's very important for you to deliver what is expected of you for the story to fall together, beyond you thinking personally for yourself as an actor. So in fact, while filming for that film, the first shot, when I was going through my own thought, usually this film, most time sequences, because DNA has a format of where he kind of acts out and shows what he wants. But for me as an actor, I've always been a thinking actor, right? So this is a very fresh experience for me where beyond my thinking, I had to also adapt to what the director wanted.
Right.
Because he's written the film in a format where he has the edit in his head. He wants the edit to be cut from this expression to this expression. And now this is a huge challenge, especially for someone like me, because I believe, now I'm like, okay, I have to do something like this and I'm very excited about it, and then I have to break through that completely and kind of deliver to what the director wants at that moment. So for this shot, I was very excited about it because I knew it was a very, because you know what the moment is, it's a very interesting moment. He's doing it without realizing it. He doesn't know what's happening. It's a spur of the moment.
Right.
So I really was very excited about it. I gave the shot. The first shot was done and the entire unit clapped. DNA came out. He clapped too. He said, superb, but tappu. In the moment, it's not what I want something else. You know, and he showed me a different version of playing it, which is also fantastic. It was a very fresh take on it. And I was also very intrigued by it because I was breaking down from my stereotype of thought process in performing a scene and entering somebody else's brain to see how he wants it.
Right.
Right? So it was a very as an actor, it was a very tough and challenging experience for me. Not because the emotion is tough to be delivered, but I have to delve into the brain of a filmmaker who's so specific about how he wants the character to be.
Right.
So this is the most challenging experience. So I'm really glad when you started off with saying you like my performance in it, because I know how difficult it was for me to one break from my shackles of trying to, because most of the filmmakers I've worked with are short filmmakers turned directors, or these are people who just come and feed.
Right.
Right? So it was a great experience.
Right. No, but I'm saying at that point, the way I see it, what you do, it's almost as if not you, but your subconscious that's doing it.
yes,
That's how I see it, right? And that's how you sort of,
Yes, I
I
saw
think,
too.
yeah. Because when somebody asks you, why do you do that? What is your reason?
As for the character, when I played it, it was a spur of the moment.
Yeah.
He didn't want to.
Yeah.
It happened.
It happened.
Now he doesn't know what to do. It's too big
Yeah.
too big a mess up.
Yeah.
Right. So now he doesn't know what to do.
Right.
And that's exactly what I tried to portray there as well.
Yeah,
I
and
hope
that
it-
really comes through.
Yeah. So for me, I really like Muthuvel. I believe in my head he's a very genuine, real guy. Like everything which happens, nothing really happens in his control.
Right.
But he's just going with all genuinity to the moment of what is required.
Right.
Even if you see in the finale, the way he reacts, it happens after he sees whatever that happens to the person he loves the most.
Yeah.
And then he's like, for him, he was a child, right?
Yeah.
The same context to what Dushara is to
Yeah. Yeah.
Deena in the film. So that is how I saw it. And for me, it was a very vulnerable moment.
Yeah, because actually, for me, what really stood out in a lot of places in this screenplay, the writing of the movie, is that usually when you have a movie like this, the director will spoon feed you the big reason for such a thing to happen. Here, it's almost like you're doing it like somebody else is doing that thing for you. Like it's not like your conscious part, but the unconscious part of you is driving this moment forward. And I was like, that is a really something I haven't seen in films before. I've seen this kind of situation happening of betrayal or whatever it is, but that betrayal happening despite yourself or like almost like an unconscious thing, I have never seen that. And I thought that was fantastic. And I thought the way you played it was fantastic, the way Dhanush wrote it was fantastic, and that, of course, the way that was staged and everything else was like thing, but it was also this cumulative resentments over the years about money and this and that. Everything just kind of like it's in the back of your head because of all the things that you've done in the movie. So, are you a kind of actor when you're playing a scene like this? Do you just keep that particular in this particular shot, I'm going to do this betrayal? Is that all that's in your mind? Or are you going to go back and say, no, this is what, my Ryan told me when I this is how he insulted me when I was having my food. This is how he talked to me that way. This is how this is how he used all the family's finances. Do you bring all that into that moment and kind of play that part?
See, interestingly, I am an actor who goes that way, where I like to go. I enjoy that. That is the reason why I've realized very recently where I need to keep mixing up with some fun films once in a while because the darkness gets a little too much. But I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it because I think that's the fun part of being an actor. But interestingly, for this scene, the whole idea for me was I didn't want to know anything at that point. I just wanted it to be a spur of a moment. I'm not realizing what's
So you're
happening.
almost like a puppet.
No, I'm just lost.
Lost.
I'm just lost. It's a daze. Like for me, imagining a moment like that was I've committed to a very, like even the way it was shot, it's where he comes right at him to be actually going for someone else, and it happens in a spur of a moment.
Right.
And then you're like, shit. So at that point, I realized this character should not really have the mind to think. He doesn't know what's happening.
Right.
Before he realizes something else, then his younger brother has done something as well. Now he's protecting his younger brother. Now he's like, oh shit, now it's beyond my screw up. I've pulled him into.
Yeah.
So all this was what I was thinking. Where I thought of everything that you said was actually in the scene right after.
Right.
Where I went back and said what all that he has gone through. But even at that moment, for me as a character, my reasons were not justified.
Okay.
For me in my like you messed up. It's your fault. Because that was the whole beauty of the part.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's always somebody who unintentionally messes up.
Yeah.
And the mess up becomes so big that you have to get into a much bigger, unfixable mess up. That was the beauty of his character.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I felt somewhere this guy had to be naive and lovable for this to come out. And I tried to put that out there. And it's really sweet. I'm really happy that someone like you noticed that. So thank you.
Well, okay, one thing you said is, I mean, let's stop with the scene, because it's like I want to keep on talking about the scene, but then we don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen the movie yet. And I'm like, please go watch this movie. But one thing you said is that the toughest directors that you worked with are Krishna Vamsi, Devakatta, Rajan DK, and now Dhanush. Now, why are these four people the toughest directors you worked with?
To be honest, Deva and Rajan DK are not tough at all.
Okay, why did you? I read that somewhere.
They're not tough at all. No, I said Krishnavamsi sir and Dhanushana are the two most difficult directors, not difficult, tough directors.
Tough directors, yeah.
Because their approach to scene is very difficult, like very different. Probably my training or my understanding. Well, because if you see in the start of my career, I primarily worked with people like Devakatta and Rajan DK. So they're all NRI filmmakers who came down and they come with a style of approach to cinema. Then there was a Lokesh, there was an Anand. They were not, none of them were really people who were coming from typical style of cinema, being trained from the old school cinema. While Krishnavamsi sir, DNR, they all come from that base core training, right? And people like me of my generation haven't had the fortune of being trained that way, which is very important to adapt ourselves to every kind of filmmaker.
Yeah.
So Krishnavamsi sir was my first experience with it, where it wasn't really about getting the shot right. It was about getting the shot which the director wanted right.
Which is what you said about Dhanush as well.
Dhanush and I
Right.
Now Krishnavamsi sir would make me do things like there'll be like 9 takes, and he'll be like, okay, listen, from the first take the third line, from the third take the first line, and from the 9 take the rest of it. I want you to put together, do it that way.
How would you even remember?
But I got used to it. It was fun. After a point, I used to take it as a challenge.
Would you see the monitor or something like that? I mean, like, how do you?
Not really. Monitor. For that, he doesn't like using a monitor.
Right.
He only has a mini. He's like, but that's the joy, right? Like you're walking in with, okay, what am I going to face today? Now that kind of training, I don't think I can ever get through.
Right.
Right. For example, on this film with Dina, my first take went on for around 36 takes.
Which is the scene?
First introduction where I walk in saying, Mutana, or that walk. So he was seeing the character for the first time on camera. So for the director to be able to see me, and both of us were coming right after Captain Miller in like 5 days, right? We just had one look test where it was very loving. He was setting my head up.
You started this 5 days after Captain Miller.
Right after Captain Miller.
Wow.
So imagine there's a complete mood jump from the character I'm playing there, and in between I had to go wrap up 2 days of patchwork for Bhairav Kona, because if I didn't, the film, the look was going to change. I'm coming here straight and we're starting shoot. The first sequence is around a 59-second single take. And now what the director is expecting of me is to adapt to his North Madras boy body language. Now it's a terrific challenge. The first one for 36 takes. Then the shot turned around to Selvaraghavan sir. There were a number of takes. I was like, oh. So it's not just me, it's a style. Same with S.J. Surya sir. So it takes a bit to understand and get into what is expected.
So if I may ask, what is this North Madras body language? And how is it different from, let's say, your body language?
See, for example, there are tiny things like just putting your hand up here.
Okay.
I would say, hey,
Oh, like, why are you doing this? You
this
would not.
Tiny thing.
Yeah.
Like, for example, in Managaram, I would have adapted a little to what Lokesh, I really liked Lokesh's real life body language, and I was like, Macha, pani kami. Super. I used to take that from him. He just looks straight. He doesn't blink much. He's very calm. So I like that thing about him, and I picked that up from him. While Diana had a very specific way of putting things together. So
what do you call him? Diana?
I call him Dhanush Anna.
No, okay, but you said Diana, so I was like,
so, like, see, I just felt Dhanush, like,
I'm just curious.
My way of doing a few things is like, with the people I work, it's very personal.
Yeah.
It's a very personal way of approaching it. So, so anyways, this was a very different approach to this whole putting your hand up this way, putting your head in a specific way. These tiny things, or for example, the scene where I go to Aparna and I'm like, so the first thing when I see the father, I would have played it very differently. But when the man comes and suggests an idea saying, I'm like, oh my God, right? Oh, so this is that tiny nuance which any actor needs somebody to.
Yeah.
So it was amazing for me to have someone like an actor of Dhanush's caliber as a director to constantly come and give me those pointers.
Right.
So I was pretty much thinking like, treat it as if you use it right, this is going to be an experience which will take you way forward. At least I thought so.
Yeah.
So that's how I worked around on this.
Right, and one thing I really liked about your character is how you just spoke about Aparna, so about how you don't mind getting slapped by her in private, but when she does that in public, that really bothers you because that kind of has an echo when the bar scene happens and takes on from there. So these small things that are there throughout the movie, I think
I'm glad you noticed that, sir, because even when I was playing the scene out, I wanted that to be noticed.
Right.
Like I tried to add those tiny things where I was hoping people will notice that he doesn't mind being kicked by her, but public lo mattum kai vechirada.
Yeah.
So those tiny things, and it was in the writing, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was really lucky that Dhanush, the writer, was comfortable with giving this kind of a part to a different actor.
Right.
I've grown up watching characters like this, which I really enjoyed, like a Parduviran or a Muttaragu or Madhavan sir and Meera Jasmine ma'am's character in either.
Yeah.
So there's some beauty to that madness, right? And it's not often that you get into that skin and do it. So I was really blessed, I think, to be able to get this film at this point in time.
Yeah. We just mentioned a bunch of directors. Now there's another director, Sundeep Kishan. Now you did something called Sugar Factory with him.
I didn't do it with him.
No, but you traveled for some time with
yeah.
that film.
Yeah.
What is that film?
I don't think it's fair for me to speak about it. But even recently when we caught up, I was like giving them that story. He was like, oh shit, we were discussing it. So at that point, Sandeep was also, if you see,
This was after
before everything else.
Before everything. Before Sandeep
everything.
Reddy did a single
became
film.
Sandeep Reddy Vanga, of course. I was very excited about him as a filmmaker because I saw his short film, I saw what he had done, and he came up with a wackest script. A lot of those sequences would be there in Arjun Reddy.
Okay.
So, and at that point, somehow things didn't fall in place because this was in 2011.
Yeah.
Now imagine pitching it to a producer and making them understand. And I did try. I really did try. And at that point, it didn't fall in place, but we've stayed best friends nevertheless. And it was so amazing to see just the man's brain, the way it works is beautiful.
Right.
So I've been very lucky to have interacted or closely get an opportunity to understand how these filmmakers' brains work, which I think is very important for an actor to grow.
Right.
Yeah.
So Sandeep, you said that Michael is a film, and that's your pan-Indian film, that kind of really changed you as a person. What way did that do that? And are there other films as well that change you as a person?
They most of the times are, sir. Like, I think it depends on how you take a film. Like, I am one of those actors who takes my job very personally.
Right.
I fall in love with my characters. I like to be them. I emote for them. I feel bad for them. Because I really like my job. I really enjoy being an actor or being able to portray this character on camera. So there have always been one or two films which have been, or an experience on a film. Like, for example, a film called Tenali Ramakrishna. I chose to work with this filmmaker called Nageshwar Reddy sir, who's a very masala filmmaker there. And both the films that I worked with him really worked for me in terms of one segment of cinema. And it really helped me gain confidence in a lot of ways. It brought me back as a more confident person. Now at a core level, and how much did the film work is a secondary thing. But I know how much it helped me come out as a person.
Right.
The same way, Michael, when I started the film, my whole intention of doing Michael was, I wanted to see myself differently. I wanted people to be able to see me differently. And I wanted to see how far can I push with my hard work. So I chose a film specifically which would require the actor to really, kind of rip himself apart to be that person. I still believe it's one of my best performances because it was very internal. I internalized it a lot. I don't know how much of it showed, but I really internalized the character or the emotions which it went through. So I think the reason and Michael, the director filmmaker, like more of the reason is because Ranjit J. Kodi as a person, he has a thought process which is very contagious.
Right.
And it's a very ideal few things that he believes.
Right.
Which is also what he writes into Michael. So I think somewhere being that person for like 2 years kind of took a bit of me.
Right, but what is that change? Or what was Sundeep Kishan like before Michael, and what was he after Michael? I mean, if you're talking about a change.
More confident, more calm. Primarily that.
Yeah?
I'm more confident. Like when Michael, irrespective of the final result, the kind of buzz that it created, or the way it opened across, or the way people responded to my work, or till date, surprisingly, wherever I go to whichever part of the world,
right,
when people recognize and come to me, one of the first films they point out is Michael.
Right.
So that kind of gave me a lot of confidence that even on the worst day, I can work hard and I can bring myself back up.
Right.
Right. So I'm not, the biggest worry for any actor, I would believe, in their career, is to be in a position where you're waiting for opportunities to come looking for you.
Right.
And I've always believed I want to be an actor who can create my own opportunities for myself.
Right.
If a great opportunity comes by, I'm very thankful and grateful, sure. But if not, no problem. I'd create my own. And Dhanush has always done that as well. And that's the reason I kind of always looked up to him and respected him. So that confidence Michael gave me. Like Michael gave me Captain Miller, Michael got me Ryan. It showed a filmmaker that, okay, this man or this boy can be this.
And it came from you, right? The project came from your side.
The idea of it came from me,
Yeah.
but the script, no.
Was it? Yeah. You know, you just talked about how the film did. So the Michael, when a film like Michael, which you've poured so much heart and soul into, it's transformed you as a person, all this, when it doesn't quite work the way you want it to, like, how do you process that?
I'm one of those people who takes it in completely. I take the pain, I go through the pain, then I come out strong.
Right.
I don't try to hide away from,
Like,
I take the film very personally, sir. Ella padam, like even if it is Ryan, Ryan is very personal to me. So it'll really affect me if people don't like it.
so you're not one of those people who goes home and just switches off.
No, sir. People matter to me, sir. I really like being liked by people. Like I'm very clear on my sense that I want to do, I've chosen this job because I enjoy it, but it also gives me an opportunity to interact with lakhs and crores of people who I probably will never get to meet. Leave an impression on them, right? And that I really value that.
When you say people matter to me, you mean audience?
Yes, the audience.
Okay.
Completely. Like,
Yeah.
it matters to me. Like when, like wherever I go and I get pictures clicked, when they say something personal, saying your film helped me at this point, or the way you stood yourself, like stood strong by yourself at this moment, really inspired me. That is what I live for, sir. So hence, the reason I really strive to do my job well is because I want to be able to get that affection from people.
Just playing devil's advocate, don't you think there are also lots of actors who just coast by on their charm or whatever it is, or do minimal things but are still liked by the audience? I mean, what I'm trying to ask you is, why put yourself through this huge process of entering a character, trying to be that character all the time? You know, in your words, how does that help?
To be honest, sir, when I started off, life wasn't that easy. I was auditioning around here all over. I was working with Gautam sir and he's an AD. But even then, I joined him so I could be an actor.
You joined Gautam as an AD during Varnamairam, right?
Varnamairam, sir.
And you joined him because you wanted to be an actor?
Yes, I met him to be an actor. And at that point, he was like, join my team, I'll place you. And at that point, there were 3-4 people in that team who wanted to be an actor. And there was also Chennai in Malayalam, the original version being shot. And I was one of the leads in the Telugu version of it.
Right.
So, but after a year, I realized I wasn't really equipped for the job. And I was wasting the opportunity of somebody else who could have it. And it was also taking away from the time I could spend to go towards what I wanted to do.
So you always wanted to be an actor?
Yeah, yes.
Right.
It was very clear that I wanted to be an actor.
Right.
So when I went to Telugu, the first things that was said to me is I was not your conventional, like mostly when somebody starts off, you want to start with a love story. So in Tamil, when I was auditioning, somehow I was always looking for films like, at that point, the word was like, Roja Kutam, Shrikant Mari or Hero Theatre. So there were a lot of newcomer films happening and I was constantly coming up to the last point, not happening. But the one thing I constantly got was you're a good actor.
Right.
While in Telugu, I was being told that you can't be a conventional lover boy, so you'll have to find a different route.
Why was that?
I don't know, sir.
Okay.
I don't know. That was all I was being told. And I was like, as a 20-year-old, 19-year-old, you're like, listen, I want to figure out. So I realized the one thing that was working for me is everybody saying you're a good actor.
Right.
So when I started my first film there, it didn't, we started shot for 4 days and we shut down for 70 days. So we don't have the film starting. I refused to come back to Chennai. I didn't have too many friends there, though my family's from there. I knew nobody. That was when I auditioned for Prasthanam, which ended up being my first film.
Right.
So when there was a negative part offered to me, my honest reference point was, at that point in Tamil cinema, I saw a Kadal Kondain work. There was an Arundhumari where an aria popped out of an Arundhumari. So I realized, okay, so if you can be a very exciting antagonist who's actually playing it like a lead, you can pop out special among a lot of people who are trying to make their mark.
Right.
So that was the reason I went out to pick up something like that. Like even Raayan, for the example today, when I chose to be a part of Raayan, my single point was one, that's Dhanush Anna's 50th film. He's trying to put an immense faith on me. Two, this is a film which almost every Tamil cinema viewer will watch. And I know they'll come back saying, this boy is a good actor. I like him. So that was my point, that I'm finding this as my route to success. So I have, like most people play by numbers, I'm finding this as my route. I'm trying to register myself in the audience in these very interesting characters or some special films.
Right. So you want me as an audience to think that if I go to a Sundeep Kishan film, then I'll get something different.
Yes. And I know he's going to keep it entertaining and fun for me. I'm trying to create my identity, sir.
Right.
I want it to be my identity. And I want them to believe that, okay, it'll be a film which is fresh. I will enjoy the film for 2.5 hours. I know this guy is going to try at least to put his heart out. My point is, for the question you asked, why so much effort? So my pitch right now to the audience is, I am ready to put all my heart out for your one ticket. Why should I watch your film? Because the film, the way it comes out, none of us know, sir. But at least you know, for that $150 of yours, I'm going to kill myself, rip myself apart for it. So that's my pitch. In short, the answer for it is my pitch to sell myself to the audience is that.
Right.
Even in Telugu, that's how I've played it so far.
Now, what does this take out of you?
Takes too much. I'm
Right.
trying to find.
Are you able to be like quote unquote normal with friends and family?
I'm being normal with them. When I'm with them, it's great. But I realize I'm very distanced from them. I get very less of it. Like, for example, I don't know the last time I was with children, had a regular lunch with my entire family, or had a group of friends who will hang out with the whole time, whole bunch of time. Because somewhere I'm so drained out by the end of this process. That little time with myself just feels so important. So I realize my social life has taken a massive beating. Personal life takes a massive beating. So this year I'm trying to balance it out a little better.
Is that possible? Because let's say films come or keep coming. See, because you've not yet had that one mega,
Yes, true.
big blockbuster kind of thing that's riding on your shoulders,
Yes, sir.
which will make, and this is not important from my viewpoint, because for me, I'm like, okay, is this actor interesting? Is this guy doing a good role? But from the industry's viewpoint, they look at, can we mount a big project on this actor? You know, that because that's why that becomes
Yes,
important.
I mean, it means a lot coming from you, sir.
Right. So, but what I mean, that's how the industry thinks, right? So when you're still waiting for that,
Yes, sir.
can you take a break?
To be honest, I think there was a very bad round of 3 years that I had, which I had to fix and come back from, which the beginning of which came from Michael. And touchwood, so far, I believe this is my best phase based on the kind of films I have coming out.
Like even Urupir by Bhairav Kona was
did very well for me. And after a long time, it was a very good theatrical honor, sir. We had like a 1 month run.
Yeah.
And we came against a lot of odds because the production house was going through a tough day. The film was delayed. We had zero promotional budgets. Honestly, to be the morning show, we opened with mixed response. And it was a huge, overwhelming response. See, people were like, irrespective, I don't care. I'm going to go watch it.
Yeah.
And eventually, everybody came out saying, I really like it. And for me, it was a huge take home in terms of how much love the audience is giving me. So, in fact, my film right after is, and see, the thing is that I never aimed to make those 100 crore collecting films. If you see any of the films I've chosen, none of them were mentally planned to be those films. I always planned on making a very special film, which will be remembered. Even Michael was that. But somehow, if Michael had worked, it was set in a space where it could have gone bonkers.
Yeah.
So, but now, sir, I'm being very conscious of it. I realize, no, I'm lucky to have people like you who come back and can, say some nice things about my work and give it the respect it deserves. But by industry calculations, it is the number that matters. And to be honest, at this point, I was like, Telugu, I'm doing a very good marketing, but I realized, no, it's important to grow. And my next set of projects are planned that way.
What are your next set of projects?
In Telugu, I'm working with Trinad Rao Nakkina and Prasanna. They are the set of filmmakers who are coming back with 5 back-to-back hits. The last film is Dhamaka, which was a 100 crore grosser. It's an entertainer. I haven't done a family entertainer in a long time. It's a hilarious film. It's a popcorn entertainer with some great music. And that is one. After that, I'm working with Swaroop, who's Agent Sai Srivasatra's director. It's a college action love story, which is also like to and fro, going back into the memories. And it's a very fresh, exciting film.
Right.
Even as a casting, I think we're pulling off a very interesting casting coup. So that's something which I'm very excited about. I'm doing a Netflix show with Malik, the director of Tillu Square, which is again very fresh out of the box. Family Man season 3. And I've signed one in Tamil, which is very exciting, sir. So there's no free break. But I realize if I stop now, I won't be able to fix this time again.
Right. Because that's this whole profession. Because it's like, yes, you can try to have a break, but something always happens. And I'll tell you in a very weird way, like even I who's sitting opposite you, right? There'll be many times I'll be like, wow, this Sunday looks like it's really free. And you'll try to mentally, make some plans, but then it'll be like, Sundeep Kishan's available on Sunday. So you can't do anything about that because that kind of throws a thing or some other actor or whatever it is, or you have to fly somewhere. Or so, so I'm like, say if it's like this for me, like, it must be like some 100 times that for you, because, for you, your entire career now depends on, being available for certain projects. So,
So today I'm honestly fighting perception, sir. I'm trying to break the perception. So until I break for me, working harder is not about the market perception. See, there's like today, I'm very thankful where a lot of people come back and say he's a very underrated actor who hasn't gotten his right due yet. But on paper, if you see, it's actually a very healthy, comfortable space to be in, which means there's a lot of faith people are putting in me thinking, no, this boy maybe deserves more.
Yeah.
So somewhere, for somebody who started off with no one believing that he's going to become an actor, when I see so many people putting that kind of faith in me, I feel I should push myself a little harder.
Yeah.
But my intent is like not to keep doing this always. After 5-6 years, I want to do 1 film a year, produce 3 films a year, put my heart and soul into that film. Life is meant to be lived, sir. Illana, you're very lost.
Yeah, but I mean, you can still do that. I don't know. Like I've always wondered, you know, when an actor like Daniel Day-Lewis say that, you know, in order to do this role, I'm learning this and I'm learning that, or I'm playing heavy metal music all the time. I'm in character all the time. I want people to address me as that character all the time. It just sounds to me like such a, like the word that you use, draining
It is,
process.
I do all of this, sir.
Right.
Right before an emotional scene, there'll be a set of songs which go back to my past and memories which drain me out.
Right.
I play that song.
What
It
are the
is
songs that you played in
torturous.
Ryan?
During Ryan, one was Tenmuri, because somewhere I connected to a past of mine which kind of drained it.
Right.
One more is from Nanum Raudada and Matrum Kadal.
Ah.
These two songs
That
kind of
kept.
at that point kind of really pulled me into dark spaces. Sir, ideally, is this the way to work? No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that because I am a little crack. I think it is an adventure for me.
I don't think there is any ideal or non-ideal.
There's no approach. If somebody comes and says,
If it works for you and it makes you like convincing on screen, I think
that's
that's
not
all.
healthy, sir. You shouldn't keep doing it. I'm also realizing it today. I wouldn't want to do it. That's the reason I'm saying I don't want it to consume me. So,
So when you say this popcorn entertainer, right? You said it's a hilarious
I'm
film,
loving it, sir.
right? But even for that, you throw yourself 100%, or
Yeah, sir.
you pull back for that.
no, it's 100%. Whatever I'm doing, I'm 100% there.
So
like, for
that,
example,
so
the
that is
songs-
also draining in a way.
Yeah, yes. It's physically, like entertainment is not easy, sir.
Yeah, it's
It's
not.
physically very exhausting, and even for that emotional scene, I'll take the same process. Whatever I do, I have to be genuine to the moment, sir. If I'm
Yeah.
genuine to the moment, it'll work.
Right.
My expression could go right or wrong, but if I feel the moment, it'll work. And I'm loving the process of that film so far because it's a fun film.
Right.
It's been a while since I've gone on to set where I'm just laughing.
Yeah.
Like even when we walked into Raayan, right, the instant I go on set,
Yeah.
we're oiling ourselves up. I'm getting tanned. I mean, tanning myself more than required. We're going, like all of us are working in a specific way and we're maintaining that mood, right? Now, there have been times where when I walk onto set, I just take the mud, put it on myself, I walk in. So the whole day you're in a very grumpy mood and tone. But the work you're doing is exciting when you see it on camera.
yeah.
While films like these are mentally important, sir.
Yeah.
In fact, an actress friend of mine, she once told me, and she's a very big star. She was like, once in a while, you need to do a fun, happy film, otherwise you'll mentally be exhausted.
And that's this film.
That's when I realized, oh, this is important.
Right.
We
Right.
have to.
Yeah.
And even the audience like it, sir.
Right.
The audience like to laugh in the theaters. சொல்லி குடிச்சிட்டே இருக்கிறது இது கிடையாது.
Yeah. But tell me one thing. Well, you know, when you want to be this big hero, like you're not just an actor, but also a big hero, a big star. How does doing a Managaram or a Ryan help in? What is your strategy overall?
So I have a strategy. I don't know if it's right or not, to be very honest. It has gone wrong. I fixed and come back. So, so when I started working in cinema, I wanted to be an actor who doesn't have a single flaw. I came with that ideology. And for me, in Telugu, the first 4 films worked really well, greatly reviewed. After that, there was
Prasthanam and all that.
yeah, Prasthanam, there was Gundalo Godari, there was Routine Love Story. There was then came Venkatadi Express, which became a monster hit for me theatrically.
Yeah, yeah.
At that point, we did a terrific number. And after that, back to back, I was working with films which I gave my word to. I was like the people who stood by me on a bad day, now I want to. What I should have done is I should have waited a little extra longer to do that. But suddenly they started taking beatings. Not like I was really making much money out of it either. But I wouldn't say I didn't enjoy the process. I did. So I had to learn back from reverse. And for Tamil, my point was I was a boy who's grown up here, grown up in Tamil cinema. And I was like, I wanted to do films to be like that. And that was the era of C.V. Kumar.
Right.
New age, out of the box cinema was making, like I and Sedona debuted the same year, 2010 as heroes. Right? So I remember meeting and chilling at that point is with the same gang. And C.V. was pitching something to me. So for me, the agenda was never to build, like, sir, think from my space. For someone like me who starts off, for the first 5-6 years, you can't even think about a market. A market, how much is my market growing is not your thought process. You're trying to just become that actor who everybody likes and is getting interesting work. And I worked on those zones. I always picked up fresh new filmmakers with very out of the box stories. Like Tiger would be a story. At that point, after a very commercial success, I went for a story where I come right before the interval. There's no female lead. Now, it might sound very normal today, but at that point, it is a very...
Yeah, big thing, yeah.
And for me, the way my Telugu career was going, in fact, Managaram theatrically gave me a massive beating in Telugu. Because it came out as a dub film. It wasn't promoted right. The people who bought it didn't back it right. So I got a lot of credibility, but theatrically, it didn't collect what it should have. So that's when I learned, oh, so star aganunna, it's not just about your acting skills, you have to understand and study the business.
Right.
It's after that that I started my production house. So like now with Ryan or Captain Miller, so my point was for me to pick up a story in Tamil, and I know how the Tamil market works, sir. I've studied the market. It's a very complex market. And I have a very comfortable day going in Telugu. To come try making a film here, sell it separately here, then dub the film, take it back to Telugu. I was like, no, let me be the first Telugu hero who's being owned here with an X kind of visibility. And let it be Captain Miller or Ryan was building up for me. So tomorrow when I come up with a film like Michael again, it will take a very good opening, and if the film is good, it will go, sir.
Right.
And the opening is what the market defines as your. And to be honest, Michael took a very good opening in Tamil. Sir.
Yeah, yeah.
It took so that is what the market decides if you're growing as an actor or a star.
Right.
Ryan is for me to tell people saying, listen, I'm an honest actor who works hard. I'm trying to grow in your eyes as an actor who's bankable
Yeah.
with your morning show. So it is my, and you
No.
have to make that effort.
See, because in Telugu,
Ah, sir.
you're saying I will only do the projects where I'm the lead.
Yes.
Mostly, right?
Yes.
Because that's your base,
Yeah,
I guess. Now in Tamil, you're saying I don't mind being the lead, I don't mind being a supporting actor or whatever
No,
it
sir, I
is.
won't do any more supporting acting.
Oh, you're not going to
No,
do,
sir.
right?
No, sir.
Ryan is your last,
Done, sir. Last.
right?
I wanted to do it because I wanted to be directed by Dhanush.
But
And
what if like some exciting director comes tomorrow and
it will
says,
be a cameo, sir. It won't be a. So that is not my agenda, sir. That's not what. Sir, I want, like, even if I'm playing a part, it should have, for example, if it's a part which really requires, like in Captain Miller, which has emotional depth,
right?
which has a moment which will make a big noise. Yes, it's for me as an actor to enjoy
Yeah.
a personal high. But beyond that, the way I see my career, it's not going to benefit. Like, for example, sir, Mari 2 was offered to me as an antagonist.
Right.
But at that point, I didn't really take it in because I was like, I don't want to see myself
Yeah.
in that tonality, you know. While today, when Ryan was offered, I jumped up with excitement saying, no, this is the kind of character I've grown up watching in a Selva Raghavan film or a Dhanush film, which is very exciting for me, right? So it's very personal call, sir. I'm thinking it will work. I think it is. I don't know. நீங்க தான் சொல்லணும்.
No, I can say, but the point is now you're also doing OTT projects in, where in Hindi, where again you're part of an ensemble and not the central character.
Yes,
So I'm saying, I'm not seeing the strategy here. The overall,
So for example, for Hindi, when I go, I'm not trying to become a Ranveer Singh there, sir.
right.
My agenda is not to go to that. Tomorrow when I make a big scale, ambitious film, like Michael at that point was in a small scale ambitious film.
Yeah.
But tomorrow when I make a big scale ambitious film, which we are planning on, I want it to be a film which reaches out to all these audience.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, I want to register myself to the audience of various states in very heroic or author-back parts,
Right.
where they like me for who I am.
So the strategy is like everybody should know who Sundeep Kishan is,
And they should like him.
and they should like him.
They like him for being an honest actor.
Right.
And when that comes in, when I come with an incredible trailer and with the right filmmaker, and they see my face on the poster, they're open to come to the morning show instantly. That is how you build credibility, sir.
Right.
So there are two ways. Either you have a phenomenal launch where you have an incredible director pumping your face across the posters.
Right.
Irrespective of the film working, everybody knows you. Because there's so much PR that's run around you. You're just waiting to pick up projects for people to be liked on. Where otherwise people like me, if I want to be an actor who's going big on all segments, this is my pathway. Like in Telugu, I have an active career. My dub films in Hindi are doing well digitally. I'm in no hurry to make a theatrical blockbuster in Hindi today.
Right.
Now on a show like when, today sir, OTT is an opening not just for the people here, sir. Today a show like Family Man Season 3 or the Netflix original that I'm doing, I might walk away into opening up to the more international space of audience.
Yeah.
So I am trying to place myself as an actor who's also liked as an actor apart from his commercial capabilities.
Right.
It is an ambitious thought. If I was sticking to the commercial capabilities, I'll be living a happier day.
Yeah.
If I was only sticking to this, I'll be living a happier day. But if I crack this, I'll be the first or the second or the third to have done it, which will leave me in a strong way.
But
in the
this
memory.
is lovely to hear. It's very ambitious.
Is it making sense, sir?
It's making sense, and it's also very ambitious. And actually, I'm very glad we had this talk because, usually people talk about their movies, but very rarely have I heard a youngish actor talk about their career strategy. And that's interesting because today it's no longer just the theater. It's a very weird space out there. So there are a lot of actors that are coming in that are very confused. They don't know, they enter too soon into that macho space, and then the audience rejects them because they're like, dude, we already have these other actors for macho roles. Why do we need you? So it's very complex because you don't know should I do a love story? Should I do action? Should I do like, what is it that's working? And then suddenly you have one small movie out of nowhere doing well, but then the next 4 small movies bomb. So it's so confusing. And the audiences like also decided that certain movies they'll see in the theater, certain movies they'll see in OTT. So that's come to play as well. So yeah, it was.
So right now is a very difficult day, but it's also the easiest day. We should just have the kind of understanding to what is resonating today in terms of relevance. Sir. You see, if you see a film working, you clearly know the things about the film which have worked.
Right.
The trailer has worked, the idea about the trailer has worked, the music has worked, it's been promoted right. The problem is, I mean, I don't know if that's a problem, so it's my opinion, I could be totally wrong. Today it's a very tough day for a lot of actors unless you found your ground or identity, because automatically you're having to surrender to a completely different person in their vision. It could be a producer or a filmmaker. There's no longer your creative stance in it at some level, right? So now you're waiting for somebody to give you that success which can propel you forward. And it's a very difficult day, but it's easy for you to be accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
In my day, there was no Instagram, Reel, TikTok, nothing, sir. We had to email pictures to everybody or mail the hand photos to people, and I've done that with so many places. So it's a very tough day, but that's the challenge. Everybody has gone through a tough day at every point in their career to come up. You have to put yourself through that. I am trying to today land myself as a theatrical actor, as a strong theatrical actor. So eventually that will anyways convert into digital or TV.
Yeah.
So, and I think today my aim is I want my films to be celebrated in the theatre. My ambition would probably want to make something like Kalki 5 years from now. But that 5 years from now, I would want every single theatrical audience in Tamil to say, hey, Sundeep pada எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும். Sundeep காக போய் பார்ப்பேன்.
But what do you think of, like, you know, there are a lot of actors who reach a certain stage and then they have to make only big movies because that's the kind of movies that people like to see them in. That because somebody is mounting a big budget movie, these are the actors that can carry that kind of budget. So are you worried in some way that if I become the star that I want to be, then I will be stuck doing only a certain kind of movie because I cannot have that fun that you're having anymore?
Sir, I'm very excited to get there because if I get there, I'll be the guy backing films like Kalki, sir.
Right.
Or a Kalki or one of those. I want to be able to back a director who comes with a crazy idea.
Right.
For me, what worked about Kalki was a director tried to make a Star Wars in India and he achieved it visually.
Right.
And I was blown away by just the ambition,
Right.
the sheer ambition of planting something like that. Tomorrow, if I find somebody like a Lokesh Kanagaraj, I can start off with an idea of a much bigger idea.
Yeah.
It depends on the kind of cinema you choose to do on those budgets, sir. Right? I think I'd be somebody who would still try to, like a Captain Miller for me on paper was a great idea.
Right.
It was an incredible idea to back. So I think I'd be one of those. I'm excited and hoping to be able to back cinema like that, which can, ரொம்ப ambitious padala, but to be able to just be a film which you can proud of from the country and say this kind of cinema is made from my country, and to make that kind of cinema you need budgets.
Right.
And I could do the right thing or the wrong thing, but my intent is to be able to back a filmmaker who wants to do something magical. Today, Yash is so successful because he backed a filmmaker who believed him.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm not somebody who shies away from taking and being inspired by what somebody does right. I try to learn from it and say, oh, this is nice. So probably I should try and figure that through. So this is my attempt, sir. I don't know if I'll go right. So you should in fact tell me if I'm doing right.
I don't know if you're doing right or wrong, but it's definitely interesting. And I think that's what matters because at the end of the day, you know, if I find, like what you said earlier, if I know that, okay, I know this actor, I know that if I go to this person's film, then I'm going to get something interesting. That's the most you can hope for because I think interesting is a very underrated quality in the movies because that everybody wants to do the same thing. And that's like to see somebody trying to do like different things and yeah, I think that's amazing. So thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
And truly wonderful performance in Ryan.
Thank you,
And
sir. Very sweet coming from
that's like, and you know, I'm a little taken aback that you're not going
In
to
a
be
good
doing.
way, I hope, sir. In a good way, I hope.
You know, very good. I'm a little taken aback by the fact that you're not going to be doing, you know, these kind of roles anymore. But yeah, but that's a personal
taken
choice.
away as in, I mean, why are you taken aback? You think it's a, like in terms of a career or in terms of as an actor?
So one of the things I like is like if you take somebody like you know Al Pacino or something like that. I know the situation may be different there as opposed to here. I like that he's able to top line some movies, be the protagonist, the hero. In some roles, he just come for 10 minutes and 15 minutes and be a very, very powerful presence and like have fun with the role and then go away. I like that balance in an actor.
I like that. To be honest, I would love that, sir. But the honest truth is that, as you said sometime back, the industry works in a way. I can't, this, I need to choose my battles, sir.
Yeah. No, I guess
I need to
it's
kind of
easy.
be
No,
like,
no,
you
see, it's
know-
easy for me to say.
No, fair, sir. I understand. At one point, I figured out saying I need to choose my battles, and I'm like, okay, like this is a battle which I probably will not be able to. And sir, I have an ambition for myself as to how I want to see myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to give myself something in return.
Yeah.
And if I feel anything will take away from what I aspire to be, I'm kind of shying away from that. It could be a right or wrong move, but I'm shying away only because I'm ready to take a battle on, but not all the time. Come on, relax. Breathe up, please.
Yeah. But that's good because it's going to be almost 15 years now
Yes,
since you came into the
This
industry.
is the 15th year, sir. Yeah,
This
next
is
one is the 15th year.
15th year. So, well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So, and you have a
It took me 15 years to have an interview with you, sir. This is actually our first interview together.
yeah, but that's not for lack of trying.
No,
it's just
But I'm glad we could.
I'm glad we could. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, sir.
டார்லிங் மொபைல் உலகின் சூப்பர் ஸ்டார்
Jenson and Nicholson Paints. Whenever you see color, think of us. Skin app presents take one short film contest. நீங்களும் டைரக்டர் ஆக ஒரு நல்ல சான்ஸ்.